My guest today is Lauren Nadwairski.
Yes.
Yes, with Tiger Strength Performance out of Baltic, Connecticut. She started her fitness journey in 2012, right? And doing a little, background research from your website. You're certified through the Mayo Clinic. That you got certified through Curves for Women.
Yes, on top of my NASM certification.
Which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I took a peek at your reviews, your Facebook reviews, which for me, I appreciate. I think to build the business, you need the feedback from your customer reviews. And you had over 100 5-star. So that's, round of applause for that. And just to touch on some of the reviews that you got. So you're supportive with your clients. You've come off, you're very loving and uplifting. You're caring, accountable, positive. You keep your people, you make sure everybody stays, positive mindset and all that stuff. And inspirational. One thing that I love and coming into here, I've read it and then seeing that is that you're accommodating for parents. I think one of the things that is hard for parents, and I think of just myself, my wife, we think about wanting to work out. We want to get going. But we have 2 young kids. We have full-time jobs. Who's going to watch the kids if we step away for, an hour? And to see this, I think it's an amazing thing. So, Lauren, welcome to the show. Just a quick background about what the show is to give people like you a platform to talk about your journey, talk about what you've overcome, some of the things that didn't work. And like I said, it's your platform. So with that being said, just took some verbatim, and I want to kind of touch on this from your story. One, you look amazing.
Thank you.
And in 2012, you said on your website that you were at 200 pounds and you lost 80 pounds in 9 months.
Yes.
That's amazing. Mind sharing me where you were at that time mentally, and what motivated you to take such a big change?
Well, I was pretty young, and for being the age that I was, losing my breath while walking up the stairs was not cool. Yeah. I was actually pretty depressed back then. I didn't really have an outlet. I was just kind of trying to find myself after dealing with drug addiction and going through homelessness and all that kind of stuff. When I first started working out, it was at Curves for Women. So I initially started as a client there. And that's where I lost the initial 80 pounds. And within that time frame of losing my weight, they asked me to work for them. And that's kind of just what started my career. But yeah, I just was not happy with myself. I needed a big change mentally and obviously physically too. My family suffers with diabetes, heart conditions. My brother had recently got diagnosed with diabetes when I first decided to start working out. And it was kind of an eye-opener to me that he was a juvenile. And right now he's going through everything that I could never even imagine as an adult at that time going through. So it was a big eye-opener to me. And I decided now is probably a time to change some things so I didn't end up like half my family.
Yeah. And it's interesting, or not interesting, but, people have such a hard time to make such a drastic change. To lose 80 pounds in 9 months, that's not easy. And, people have lack of support, which leads to depression. There's negative coping mechanisms, whether that be drinking, we lean to, drinking, smoking, whatever the case might be. And then we can, say, hey, I want to make this drastic change. It's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months. And that's an unrealistic expectation, which, I did a little content video that I'm going to post probably either later today or tomorrow. But, it's, I don't know if you've read the book Atomic Habits, where he talks about people want these massive changes within 2 or 3 weeks, instant gratification, and they slide back. So, with that being said, how do you overcome some of those obstacles? Like, you had those support systems in terms of the Curves for Women, but it takes real discipline to get to, first lose 80 pounds, but now where you are today.
For the amount of stuff that I've gone through in my life, me personally, this was easy. the physical aspect of it, that's the easy part for me. Putting my body through hell, a couple hours a day, that's easy for me. My biggest struggle was, like you said, the mental part of it. But there comes to a point where you're, lack of a better term, disgusted with yourself, and you've reached your rock bottom. And being where I am now, years later, working with clients, I realize that they have to get to that point. You can't push people to do this. You can't push them to be their best selves unless they're ready to be their best selves. So for me, it was that point. Like, I was at that point of being disgusted with myself. And now I don't ever want to go back to that point. So that's how I keep the momentum going. I make goals for myself. Like right now, I'm doing my first fitness competition at the end of April. So that's new for me, even after all of these years of doing this. This is a completely different road that I'm on right now. So setting goals helps me keep my eye on the prize. Even in the past 11, 13 years that I've been working out, I set goals for myself, whether that be, you're not going to miss a workout this week, or a bigger goal in terms of scale or body fat. But making minor goals for yourself will always help keep you on track. Whether it's, I'm not going to have a cheat meal this week because I had every cheat meal last week. Just simple things to help you stay focused. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like you said, set realistic terms, or goals. But yeah.
What are if you don't mind me asking, during that time, probably the first, from the addiction standpoint to kind of getting into this transition of personal health and fitness, what were some of those, like, the hardest parts during that transition for you?
This is where it's going to get,
Again,
nope, we're going to go there. This is what built my business, essentially. When I was with Curves, after I lost all that weight, I was a manager there. They ended up, Curves as a business, just closed down. So I lost my job. When I lost my job, I was also pregnant. When I lost my job, I also lost my first pregnancy. My boyfriend at the time, he had his own training business already. He worked for Renegade Fitness too as a trainer. So when we lost our daughter and my job at the same time, I had no idea what to do or where to go. So he was like, why don't you get your national certification instead of just the Mayo Clinic one, and start taking like the clients from Curves and just start there. Just start building it up. Cool. Awesome. So that's what I did. And we kind of joined forces, and 8 months after we lost our daughter, he died in a motorcycle accident.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. So that was a tough time. I had already started building my clientele up, and they were probably the only thing that got me through everything. Since then, I have my 4-year-old daughter now. My relationship with her father was not good, abusive in many ways. I wanted to give up a lot then. Postpartum, it was COVID. I was not in a good place with her dad. Those 2 times in my life were probably the times I felt the weakest. I looked physically strong both times. I was not mentally or emotionally strong at all. One thing I focus on in my gym is that mental health plays a big part in reaching all of your goals. The way my clients were there for me during both of those times, that's what I look at now to be like, I need to be that person for those people too. In turn, that helps me stay on the right track, if that makes sense. Knowing that I'm clear-headed and able enough to help people makes me continue to be that clear-headed. I don't have any type of mental health certifications, but the school of life has taught me a lot. And so like I like to make sure that like my clients are physically and mentally healthy, because you can't have one without the other.
Right.
You really can't. So I'm a very open person, personal trainer. I don't keep anything from my clients. If I'm struggling, they're going to know. I'm not perfect, and I don't claim to be. And I'm sure, like right now, I'm stressed, and my clients know it. I'm stressed about the competition. I'm planning a wedding. So there's a lot going on right now. And there are times I want to give up right now, where days where like, I just don't have time to work out. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time for anything. But I remember why I'm doing this. I'm doing this, one, not only for myself, but to show my clients that no matter what, like you can do this. Life is going to throw you curveballs left and right. You have to learn how to either duck and dodge them or catch them and throw them back. Like,
you know, it's interesting, you know, because I had to do a little bit of research on Tiger Strength. And what you just explained to me and what you've gone through now makes sense why the name of this business is Tiger Strength. So the meaning, so I was going to ask you what inspired you to come up with that name, and what inspired you to, you know, basically start this business. And what you said, you're courageous. You have very, the word I'm looking for is there's a sense of power that you have that it seems like while you didn't know then when you were going through all that stuff, yes, it was your clients, but at the end of the day, we're responsible for ourselves. You had this untapped power to that, and just hearing this is very inspirational. And it goes back to what your clients said in their reviews. You know, you're caring, you're supportive, you hold yourself accountable, and it's just amazing to see. So, you know, I'm a big person when it comes to, you know, my work and just living life is certain principles and certain philosophies. So for me, you know, discipline, consistency, you know, treating people the way you want to be treated, you know, things like that. When it comes to, you know, this particular business that you have, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book called Principles by Ray Dalio. It's a very good book. It's actually life and work principles. Some of the stuff that he talks about in his book is continuous improvement, you know, taking responsibility, and radical transparency. Those are the three ones that I love, like from a work standpoint. But what are some of your principles that you have for your gym, and that you make sure that, you know, your clients understand that from a non-negotiable standpoint?
Well, one, this is the true judgment-free zone. You're not going to, every single client that I have has gone through something. Addictions, mental health things. You're not going to walk up in here and think that you're better than anyone. You are going to be humbled really, really quickly. Give me your best. Your best isn't my best, and my best isn't your best, and your best is going to change from day to day. As long as you walk through these doors every day, giving it the best that you have for that day, we're good. Yep. We're good. Even if that's 10% of what your best was yesterday, right. It's what you got today. Yep. As much as I want you to be hard on yourself, you also have to be easy on yourself. I don't have the expectation that everybody can perform like somebody else. Like my clientele ranges from 13-year-old boys to 70-year-old women. Obviously, everybody's going to train differently. They have to train differently. Be patient with me getting to know how your body reacts to things, and vice versa. This could be that 70-year-old lady. This could be the first time for her really learning and understanding her body. I have to be understanding of that too. Yeah. I'll say it without swearing because I usually swear in it. Stay the course. Stay the course. Stay the course. Like you said in the beginning, 3 weeks ain't going to do it for you. Yeah. 3 months might not do it for you. 6 months might not do it for you. 9 months might not do it for you. Stay the course. Don't give up. There's plenty of times you're going to want to feel like giving up. the course isn't going to lead you to where you want it to be if you keep going this way.
Right.
So
how do you navigate, like, there's so much information out there, and I'm sure you have people come in like, oh no, like this is how I was doing and this is how I want to continue to do it. For myself, I'm in decent shape. I'd like to be in much better shape. I'd like to, lose probably 10 pounds and build a little bit more muscle. But there's just so much information out there, whether it be, intermittent fasting or this diet, paleo diet or Mediterranean diet. How do you navigate through that with individuals who might have a philosophical way of thinking that this is best for them, but it might not be? What's that look like?
Has it worked for you? No. That's usually my first question.
That is very.
Why are you here if it's working for you?
Yeah.
Social media has completely overwhelmed the general masses about this. Myself included. You'll catch me scrolling on TikTok and be like, wait. I always have to go back to the foundation of what I know. Mm-hmm. I know what works. Mm-hmm. I can't be distracted by these cutesy little things on TikTok and, grow the booty by doing these little things. No, I know the foundation of what works. It's been proven to work in bodybuilding and fat loss and weight gain for the past X amount of years, okay? Before TikTok, before Instagram, before your next Instagram model came out with this, there is a basis. There is a scientific reason why these things work. They don't make certifications and degrees in this for nothing. There is factual-based science behind why I revert back to the foundation of things. We don't need all these crazy things. We don't need to be changing our workouts every day. For me to reel people back in from that is, again, did you try it? Did it work for you? Oh, then why are you here? Are you ready to do something different? Oh, you're not? Then keep doing what you were doing. You weren't getting results. Something's got to change. But yeah, just that question usually gets them right off the bat.
Are there some baseline things people can do just to kind of get going and get, and I'll go back to the Atomic Habits book where, it's 1% better each day. So whether it be, I just want to build, some strength in my chest, do 1 push-up today, do 2 push-ups the next day, do 3 push-ups. What are some things that people who are so hesitant to do some of the workout regimens that you say, hey, try this and see how it works?
And that's why a lot of people don't start, is because changing everything at once is never gonna, most of the time, not work for people. Right. It'll be too overwhelming. We talked about our water intake before we started talking about this. That's usually where people slack. Drink half of a bottle more than you did yesterday. Don't think you have to reach your gallon quota tomorrow when you're only drinking a half of a 16-ounce bottle now. If we're going out to fast food restaurants every day, don't even cut it out completely. Every other day for the first part. Right. If we're not eating breakfast, have a scoop of peanut butter. If we can't eat a whole meal, a scoop of peanut butter, get something in your system. You can't do a HIIT workout for 45 minutes, walk on the treadmill for 15. There's always a starting point. I didn't start like this. Back in 2013, if I looked at me now, I'd be like, I'm never going to do that. Yeah. I almost failed high school because of gym, okay? I almost didn't graduate high school because I failed gym so many times. Yeah. So this was not my life. Yeah. I smoked cigarettes, I drank, I failed gym. This was not where I thought I would be. But I started. And the way that I started was taking a 15-minute walk every day.
Very nice.
Then I went to Curves for Women. That's only a half-hour exercise, half-hour routine every 3 days. 3 to 5 times a week. I started with 3 times a week. 30 minutes, 3 times a week. I wasn't in the gym every day. Yeah. I wasn't in the public gym getting scared and nervous. Yeah. There's always an option. There's at-home things you could be doing if you don't want to go to the gym, if that's the intimidating part for you. Finding a gym like Tiger Strength Performance would take away all of that anxiety feeling too. But yeah, there's always a starting point for someone, whether you're a beginner or Whether you've been training for 10 years and you're stuck in your routine and you need something to spice it up a little bit. Like with me here, you don't have to come every day. You can schedule a session with me once every 2 weeks. Hey, can I just get a form refresher on this? Can I figure out a different way to do this? Am I doing this the most effective way? It doesn't have to be a whole switch up. Maybe just a little tip here or there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much of your personal experience do you think, and I probably after this 20-minute conversation, I probably know, but how much of your personal experience you think bleeds into that tiger strength philosophy?
All of it. All of my personal experiences, I guess. Yeah. A lot of my training, one obviously comes from our factual research-based information. But when you're dealing with people, you can't always go by the book. Right. You have to tweak things sometimes. You have to think outside the box. So unlike a lot of trainers around here, I put my personal experiences into the gym. When Susie Q came in last week and sat on my bench and cried because her boyfriend was saying very awful things to her, she felt safe to do that here. She didn't feel safe to stay at home. When my gym was closed and she texted me and she said, I need to get out of the house, guess where you can come? You can come here. I'm not just a trainer. You're not just a client. We are humans. And if we can't mentally get around, like that girl had a really hard workout to do that day. And she already hated it on a good day.
Yeah.
On a good day. Never mind that day that she was having. Yeah. And I know how that feels to just want to walk out of the gym. So I sat down with her as she's crying and I was like, what do you feel like you can get through today? Right. Is it walking? Is it doing the stairs? Do you want to slam the shit out of those ropes over there because you're upset right now? Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? Because I'm not going to let you leave right now like this. Right. You're going to get this out somehow. Right. So she told me what she could do, and that's what I had her do. And she left, and she wasn't exactly ecstatic, but she wasn't crying anymore. I'm not here to solve all of your problems, but I want you to have a safe place to help deal with those problems.
It's amazing too, because when I think about personal fitness specifically over the last 5 years, and I don't know if this has always been the case, but I just associate it with mental health. Mm-hmm. And I was doing a little research. As of 2019, this number is probably much higher. More than 50% of Americans experienced a form of mental disorder. Mm-hmm. And I gotta imagine, people are vulnerable, so they don't want to discuss that kind of stuff. They don't want to talk about what's going on in their life because they don't want to feel judged. What are some best practices to address this up front that you have in place? Because it probably doesn't come out right away, mm-hmm. but I think that I'm sure what I've gathered is you have this innate ability to probably see that through someone. What are those how do you uncover it and how do you address it with your clients?
Me going back to the me being open thing, I feel like by me talking about even just my daily struggles, and just not finding time sometimes to meal prep, just talking about those things helps people feel like, okay, maybe I can open up to her a little bit. And all it takes is a client to say one little thing to me. One of my clients, she had her body fat percentage go up the other day. She texted me and she's like, could stress have something to do with my body fat percentage? And I said, absolutely. I explained cortisol to her a little bit. And then I said, why? What's going on? And she said, life is just lifing. And I said, okay, well, how is life lifing? Is there anything I could help you with? Yeah. And the word vomit came. The dogs, the job, the living, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. I was like, well, what can I do to help you? And she's like, I don't know. I think I just need to find a vice or an outlet of some sort. Okay, well, obviously right now working out's not it. It's another thing added to your schedule, which you're stressed about. So I understand that. what's something else you can do? I think I just need new friends. Like I need to surround myself with other people. I'm like, okay, well, convenient for you. I have an old lady bingo night planned at Foxwoods next month. Do you want to come? She's like, I was like, it's going to be fun. It's a bunch of girls. She's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll come. Like, all you have to do is care and ask questions to people. And 9 times out of the 10, if they feel safe and comfortable with you, they will spill their life to you. Just hairdressers, they deal with the same thing.
Right, that's right.
I know when I sit for this purple for 3.5 hours, I know my girl Becca would be getting my whole life. But
that's great.
You really just have to care. You have to be a human being back to these people. They are people. They are dealing with daily stresses and stressors, and everyone is going through something that you have no idea about. If you could be that little twinge of like hope for someone, even just if that girl hadn't told me what was going on, I would have ended that conversation with, well, I'm here if you need anything. Like, just let me know if you need anything. People always need something.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll always text.
Yeah.
I make my social media presence as a very I'm grateful for my clients. I'm grateful that they're honest and real with me so that I can try to help them. But yeah, you just got to ask sometimes, like, what's going on?
It's interesting. I saw a buddy of mine sent me a video today. I don't know if you saw it. It was 2 men at I want to say they were somewhere in Europe at a soccer game.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy is just like, this, and then the other guy's all up in arms, like, hey, scored, like the crowd's going wild. He's like, you see that? This is awesome. And they show a second scene, and it's the same kind of scene. The guy's just like, And the third scene, so one of the guys had like this scarf that he gave to his friend, the one that was kind of just laid back and really like enjoying, but not just as hype as everybody else. And the next scene was the guy that was, sitting there, and then the guy who was there with him was no longer there. And the premise of that clip was, you never know what somebody's actually going through. Mm-hmm. And it's the ones that act like nothing's wrong that hide it the most. Mm-hmm. And that resonated with me because, it kind of just takes those blinders off of like, you can't look at someone and think that, and I think social media kind of makes that very easy to do, is look at someone else's life and like, oh, they have, this great life.
Because 9 times out of 10, social media only shows
correct.
You're not going to always show the bad part.
Correct. So, it's just interesting just to hear that. And, it just, changes perspective a little bit, and you kind of appreciate, one, those people like you who actually care about everybody the same way. You don't treat anybody different. And again, everybody has their own shit going on. And, unfortunately, some succumb to it and others don't. So I want to talk about the business a little bit. Because, to run a business this long for 12 years now, 12 years? Creeping up, yeah. Yeah, 12 years in the fitness industry is not something that is common. I think so between 2020 and 2021, the fitness industry lost $30 billion. I wonder why. We don't talk about it, but, and I think what I had read was almost a quarter of health clubs and studios closed during that time. But specifically, the fitness centers struggle within the first year or two. It's kind of like the restaurant business where they, struggle in the first 2 years. Mm-hmm. How did you get it to be sustainable this long?
I don't know, man. No. So when I first started training people, I actually was training out of my apartment. Mm-hmm. So that saved on overhead a lot. Yep. I trained out of my apartment, and we did outdoor boot camps. Mm-hmm. Didn't have to pay any rent anywhere. When I was training out of my apartment, my landlord at my apartment knew everything, that I was taking clients there. One day he knocks on my door and he's like, hey, looks like you're getting pretty busy. And I'm like, if you want me to stop, just let me know. Like, I know this is a residential spot. He's like, no, I just, I have this place downtown that maybe you would like. And this was in downtown Norwich. He took me to his buddy's building, opened the door, and there was just a gym filled with equipment. Like, I didn't need to purchase a single thing. Wow. He's like, you want it? And I'm like, well, yeah, I want it. But like, what are we talking for rent here? This wasn't something that I was planning for at all.
Is that this place?
No, this is my
okay.
second location.
Gotcha.
So my downtown Norwich one, I opened in 2015,
Okay.
right after my ex died, actually. And I was there for almost 2.5 years. He gave me a great deal on rent because the connection between my landlord and everything. Right. I was there for 2.5 years. My clientele grew to be way too big for that space. Word of mouth, advertising has literally been my best friend for the past 10 years. Social media, free stuff on social media. I've done a couple of, paid advertising things where I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars and got nothing in return.
Never works. Never works, yeah.
So literally word of mouth has been my go-to for all these years. And then when my space at my first gym got too big, I was looking around, and at the time, the rent on this place wasn't terrible. So I decided to move in here, and it was bare bones. Like we redid this whole gym.
Nice.
When COVID hit, I was pregnant. My daughter was born March 10th of 2020.
So that was like right before 2 weeks to slow the pandemic, right?
It was insane. The day we left the hospital, they started taking temperature checks.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now before COVID hit, I was already planning my unpaid pregnancy maternity leave from the gym, stressed, saving money as best as I could. Right. COVID, the one thing I could say from COVID was I could file for unemployment.
Yeah.
So my maternity leave turned into a paid one.
Nice.
But during that time I did Zoom workouts. Yep. So I was trying to like keep my clientele engaged. And then it got to a point where people were just like, I don't care. I'm coming back to the gym.
Right.
And they just all started flocking back. And I was one of the only gyms that were open. Yeah. So
did they knock on your door, try to say, hey, you can't do that? Yeah. Good. Nope. Good for you. Good for you.
So I got a lot of my clientele back during COVID, honestly. I've done like partnerships with like some therapists, and they send clients here, and that's a pretty good link to have. Yeah. A lot of those clients
that's huge.
A lot of those clients have helped me a lot with marketing and talking to their friends. Right. And but honestly, it's just been word of mouth. Yeah. I learned my lesson with the paid marketing. Probably not ever gonna do anything like that again. Never. And yeah, just networking and getting involved and being a part of the community. And
so it seems like, you've adapted to some of the changes. Obviously, COVID drove most of the changes that have happened. And whether it be you got to mask up, you got to sanitize, you have to do online stuff. Outside of that, when you think about the fitness space, what has changed the most? Is it the data that's out there? Is it, everybody thinks there's some sort of gym influencer, like and again, I ask you more so in a sense of education, for me, just to know, kind of just I'm curious, because listen, I'm not knocking anybody who wants to, record themselves and do this and that on social media, but, I think some people do it for clout, and not for the real just again, that's just my opinion. I'm again not taking steps because I know a lot of people who own gyms. I know a lot of people who are, they have a lot of discipline to get their bodies to be in the shape that they're in, and they're proud of it. This isn't about them. It's just everybody seems to be some sort of influencer. So that being said, what's changed the most, since 2012 to where you are now?
Honestly, I would have to agree with you, especially with COVID happening and people resorting to TikTok to make income and all of the other different streams of income. I think that's the big thing that has changed is social media and the impact that it has on us.
Do you find that it impacts you? Like, do you think it necessarily, like when I think about insurance changes every single day. And, people can go online and go to Geico, go to Progressive, go to Travelers, and get online quotes, and the rate looks good, boom. Or even better, they'll go to like Zebra and they'll populate 30 quotes with these carriers. It takes away the element of the agent that can educate you as to what you need and why you need. Do you find that that's impact your business a little bit?
Yes. So look at our big box gyms, Planet Fitness, Renegade. Those memberships are $30 to $50 a month.
Mm-hmm.
$50 is going to get you one session with me.
Wow. Wow.
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they milk those $30 to $50 month memberships. Nobody shows up.
I'm pretty sure I still have a Planet Fitness membership. Ask me the last time I've walked into a Planet Fitness. But the $20 that's coming out of my account every month, I don't.
Yeah, you don't even think about it.
Right.
Their highest months are probably January and February, where everybody signs up, and then they make all this money.
And now you're stuck in this contract, so now that money's going to come out automatically. Yeah. So like you see a $20 a month membership as opposed to like my boot camps are $20 a class.
Right.
But again, you get what you pay for.
Correct.
You get, like you said, with insurance. Are you going to be able to go to Planet Fitness and cry on a bad day?
No.
If that's what you want to do?
You can, but in the parking lot.
Right. And the judgment free zone will no longer be the judgment free zone. But absolutely. Like, especially the financial part of everything. You can go online and you can buy a training program for $9.99 a month.
Right.
Well, that wasn't geared towards you, though. Is that going to work for you?
Right.
Who are you going to contact when you're struggling with something? Do you have anybody to contact when you're struggling, or you have a question, or your food you need a change with your food? Or, like, what are you getting for $10 a month? Yeah. So that's probably the biggest one.
So you mentioned you have a fitness competition, something that you seem pretty excited about that.
I don't know if this is excited or nervous. I don't know.
You said it's at the end of April?
Yeah.
At the end of April.
Yep.
How do you balance, your personal goals with running a business at the same time? Because, you're holding people accountable. How do you make time for yourself to say, I got to do this for me as well?
I don't sleep.
Oh.
No. So, honestly,
I believe you.
with competition prep, you have a lot of goals you have to meet. Mm-hmm. On a daily basis. On my days off, my alarm clock goes off at 3:15 in the morning.
Wow. I try to be a 5 a.m. guy, so it's just so hard.
It's really hard.
It's funny. Me and my wife were talking about it the other day. I said, hey, listen, let's start, because we have the two young kids. My son's up between 6 and 6:30. Mm-hmm. He's been getting better, but my daughter will wake up, between 5 and 7. So it's just
the second she hears someone else breathe in the house.
Something, yeah. She'll go back down for an hour and a half.
But now you're awake.
now I'm awake. But I want to. It's just a discipline thing, and I think it's going back to just start small. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate my sleep because I get the two young kids. But
But think of it this way. If you wake up a little early, you get some time to yourself in the morning.
Right. That's right.
And that's what gets my ass out of bed that early.
3:15's early. What time do you go to bed?
Anywhere between 10 and 12.
Okay. All right. So you probably get an hour or two of deep sleep, and then you get, your. Okay.
Which isn't the healthiest, but up until recently, I haven't had any help with my daughter. It was literally just me, single momming and businessing. Sure. And if you don't do it, who else is?
Right. Of course.
So,
of course. No, I get it.
And man, that first cup of coffee a day by yourself is real nice.
I'm sure. Yeah. I will get there, I think.
You will.
I'll get there.
You will.
Again, I work out. I just don't get up early, but I can find time to do it. I'd rather do it that part of the day than do it at 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
But see, and I'm the opposite. If I don't get it done in the morning, my day gets away from me.
Yeah.
Just last night, I literally had to take a piece of paper, and this is how. 4 o'clock, take a shower. Yeah. 5 o'clock, finish X, Y, and Z's programming.
Yeah.
6 o'clock, go pick up Alex. My day gets so regimented and busy. That's good, though. Which is great.
That's good.
But then I don't sit down or have any time to myself until after Alex goes to sleep.
Right.
So it was really hard for me to get into that routine at first of waking up so early on your day off. What? An alarm on your day off? But once I got into the rhythm and the habit of it, I feel so much better knowing I got X, Y, and Z accomplished. My coffee's drank. My kid could wake up. I could give her breakfast, and everything's going to be chill.
Awesome. So listen, we got a few minutes here. I just want to wrap up with some questions for you. More of it's not this or that, but it kind of in the lines of this or that. How do you handle setbacks or plateaus in your own fitness journey? Plateaus, not plateaus.
Plateaus. 9 times out of 10, I will just take a really close look at what I've been doing, see if I'm actually being as structured as I should be.
Sure.
And if I'm following everything to a T, plateaus typically mean that you need to switch something up. So whether it's changing macros around, switch how you're working out, your intensity of working out. And when I say like switch how you're working out, I don't mean like, okay, we just did powerlifting, now we're going to go to a HIIT routine. I mean, the intensity of which you work out.
Right.
Slow your movements down. Engage a little bit more. Are we flying through our lifts, or are we actually making our muscles work? Or are we just sitting here going like this all day? Like, that's not doing anything. So I have to take a really close look at what I've been doing and see if I could tweak anything.
What advice do you have for those struggling mentally and struggling to start or maintain a fitness routine?
You just got to start. You just got to do something. Like we talked about before. If you haven't drank any water today, it's currently 3:30.
I still haven't drank it.
Yeah, you haven't cracked that open. Take a sip. Just start somewhere. And if you can't figure out how to start by yourself, like, it's okay to ask for help.
Right.
And like resorting back to like my pricing and stuff, I do have a like name your own price option.
Mm-hmm.
There is a place for everyone. Don't think that, oh, I can never afford anything like this. There's always help for you. You have to ask.
What's your biggest learning lesson from both your successes and failures in the fitness industry?
This is a hard one. What have I learned the most from failures and successes?
One or the other, or both.
Well, I've absolutely learned that in order to be successful, you will fail. You will fail. So I learned a lot from the failing in order to get successful. Yeah, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. You got to get back up.
That's right. Any words of wisdom you have for listeners?
Stay the effing course. Start. Do something to start. Life is stressful. You're probably wondering how you're going to have time to even start anything. Mm-hmm. You have to realize you're worth it, though. You got to realize that you're worth the effort and the stress that it's going to take for you to get into this routine. But once you get into it, you'll be fine.
That's great advice. Where could people find you, Lauren?
Here at 118 West Main Street in Baltic. You can find me on Instagram, shreddynads_TSP, Tiger Strength Performance on Facebook. You can also always contact me on my personal page on Facebook, which is Lauren Nads.
I love it. Lauren, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for letting me do this.